guests. My name is Philip Endersby and I'm your MC for today. We would like to acknowledge the Wurundjeri and the Bunurong people of the Kulin Nation and also pay our respects to elders past, present and future, and extend that respect to all Indigenous Australians present today. And I'd also like to say I'd like to extend our greetings to Rotarians, past, present and even future Rotarians today. Welcome to our hybrid meeting to those online in the room. Please ensure your glass is charged for the Loyal Toast to be presented by President Catherine Baxter. Thank you.
And I will ask Peter to come up and do the reflection for us. Peter.
Good afternoon, Rotarians and guests. Welcome to your President of the Sofitel and online today, the special annual visit by our District 9800 Governor, Michael Lapina. Michael is, of course, a wonderful tenor who has led us in song on a number of occasions at lunch. Music and song brings happiness to us all. But sadly, my confidence was dented in the junior school at Wesley College when I was advised by our music teacher, Brett Brown, that I had one of the worst voices in his long tenure with the school. And that's impacted me right through my life. In my early days with the club in the late 1980s, we were regularly entertained by our club choir, including the likes of John Mitchell and Ross Scholes-Robertson, who's with us today. And for many years, they led us in singing God Save the Queen and Advance Australia Fair. Reflecting on our club history, it's interesting to read that the first community singing at the club occurred on the 30th of November, 1922, when the club purchased a piano for the first time. The club divided into pro-songsters and the anti-songsters. In an address to the club in 1924, Professor Osborne stressed the value he found in club singing. It was noted in 1942 that Rotarians could still sing, some very badly, but this improved under Sir William Bill McKee, who later became organist at Westminster Abbey. He rehearsed the club in the singing of the Star-Spangled Banner to greet the American Rotarians who arrived with the troops in that year, with their troops in that year. Eric Fox was the club pianist for over 40 years until singing was finally phased out, and wasn't I relieved. The club has been a great supporter in promoting singing talent, and for many years, in conjunction with the Rotary Club of Cheltenham, were involved with the Acclaim Awards, enabling opera students to undertake a fellowship program in Milan. Some of our members involved were Peter Marfleet, Martin Pickersgill, Peter Rogers, Barry Rawlings, and David Jones, who was a great supporter of opera singers. How fortunate we are to have David Cram and Karen Kim as our music supremos and Michael Lapina to keep some of our singing traditions going. Thank you.
Thanks, Philip. Rotarians and guests, a toast to Australia and Rotary International. Please be seated. We'll be taking a break until 1:10, and for those online, we'll pop you into one of the breakout rooms. Thank you. Members, visitors and guests, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the 10th meeting of our Rotary year and the 5,047th meeting of our club. It's wonderful to see you all today and for those attending online. Today is a significant day in our club's calendar as we have the official visit of the Rotary International District Governor, Michael Lapina. Welcome, Michael. Michael met at our club offices earlier today and talked to us about the club's plans and also gave us some insights into a range of matters at district and regionalisation. We're going to hear very shortly from Michael around Unlocking the Magic, a year of transformation. Accompanying Michael is Alex. Alex, welcome. Alex is the president of Rotary Club Activate, and I've got to say, Alex has done a wonderful job. He's gone from, I think it's 5 members to 25. Very impressive. And District Governor-elect Peter Shepherd. Welcome, Peter. And of course, our very own David Carruthers, 9800's treasurer. So thank you all for joining us today. We've also got some visiting Rotarians and guests. And when I read out your name, if you could please stand and just remain standing, and then we'll do applause at the end. So we have Reggie Chang, visitor of Reg Smith. Welcome, Reggie. Patrick McDonald, visitor of McGill. Patrick, welcome. And Mark Natchik from Rotary Club in Thailand. So welcome to our visitors. Now we have an update, a very important one from Jim Orchard on our who is our volunteer coordinator. So Jim, if you would like to pop up and talk about the ATB volunteers.
So thank you, President Catherine. So really what I'd like to talk about today is sort of kicking off our annual Smith Family Learning for Life fundraising project, which obviously has a strong volunteer component. So the main point I wanted to get across today is that we'll be launching next week the sponsorship for our team Rotary riders. Will be taking part in Around the Bay bike ride as per normal. There will be sponsorship sheets on your table next week, so you can look out for that. We have a smaller team at the moment than we've had in past years, so if anyone would like to join the riders, so this is riding up from sort of the Sorrento sort of area up into the city, not the full Round the Bay, but a leisurely and comfortable ride. If you could contact Chris Rod, I'm sure he would be most happy to have you join the group. The remainder of the Smith family activities will include some familiar activities. We'll be having a bike raffle, $2,000 bike voucher from my ride in Collingwood. That'll be sort of upcoming, so another thing to look forward to. We have, however, scaled back our activities with the Round the Bay event itself, and we've changed, being the high-functioning dynamic organisation that we are. And instead, we'll be managing a drink station for the Melbourne Marathon. So Round the Bay bike ride is October 6th. Melbourne Marathon is October 13th, so same sort of time of year, and that is a primary volunteering activity. So the reason for the change is partly to refresh the offering. We've been doing standing on street corners looking for bikes for perhaps getting close to 20 years, so we're going to do something different. So not only is it just different for its own sake, but we'll be operating as a team. So a team of about 25 people at the drink station at the end of the marathon. So we will be giving drinks to people who have done their 42 kilometres in the Ponsford stand or under the Ponsford stand at the MCG. So hopefully a more social activity than being stranded on some fairly anonymous street corner in Port Melbourne. So if you are free on October the 13th and able to join us, that would be obviously super great. The shift is from 7 o'clock to 2 p.m. And if we get enough volunteers, I think we can probably stagger things a little bit and sub folks in and out, which is obviously ties in with being at the MCG. My understanding is the first couple of hours we'll be preparing everything and getting it ready. It will take people 2 hours to run the marathon. So from then on, about 9 o'clock, people will be, I know it sounds amusing, but that's how long it takes fast runners to run a marathon. And there will be some, I assume, elite runners in that group. So we'll be getting the people that are finishing. The minimum age for helping out at the drink station is 13. So I think it's a great opportunity for children and grandchildren to join. We'll be all together in one area. So so from a safety and support point of view, we'll all be all in the one place. And finally, as a reminder, the whole goal of this activity is to support the Smith Families Learning for Life program, which provides educational assistance for kids from disadvantaged backgrounds. Always been a great cause of the club, remains a great cause. So if you can help us out on October 13th, that'd be great.
Thanks, Jim. Wow, 2 hours for 42 Ks. That's pretty impressive for those runners. I wanted to also acknowledge today a very important milestone. Sue Smith, where are you? There you are. It's Sue's birthday today. I wanted to say thank you, Sue, for all that you do for this club. Sue joined us in 2021 and of course is wife of past President Reg Smith. And this time around, we're not going to ask you to take your own photo. Congratulations, Sue. And I just wanted to mention that Sue was recognised with the Royce Abbey Award at President Adrian's board. And she has been amazing working as our bulletin editor and producer of our club directory. So thank you very much, Sue, for all that you do for us. Now, footy tipping. Results for the annual footy tipping competition will be announced on the 25th of September at the lunch. So make sure that you bring a friend and let's have what's going to be a very interesting grand final lunch. And the excitement doesn't stop there. So we've got AFLW footy tipping kicking off, starting on the 30th of August for the princely sum of $20. So don't be backward in coming forward and getting into that one as well. In relation to the AGM, we have received sufficient nominations from members and the board for the President's nominating committee. And I'm pleased to say that we have past presidents Chris Soteropoulos, Adrian Nelson. We've also got Iqbal Rita, Sana Malik, Tony Bettini, Jim Orchard, John Perbety and myself. And we will be working to consider for the members to consider a nominee for President of the year for 26-27. So more to come on that in the next little while. I also wanted to mention that we will have a member survey coming out in the next couple of weeks. So please keep an eye out for that email. I assure you, it is a short survey. It will not take more than a few moments of your time, perhaps 2 to 3, but it will provide us some really important insights into how you're feeling about the club, what's interesting to you. It is completely confidential. We will not know who has provided what answers, but it will be very important for us as we consider what do we need to do going forward for the future. So please do take the time to complete that when it comes out on email. And now it is my great pleasure to introduce our speaker for today, our District Governor, Michael Lapina. Michael has come to our club on many occasions, and I must say he adds a certain tone to our club, particularly when we're singing Advance Australia Fair, that none of us can rival. Michael, as you know, is of course a professional singer with Opera Australia, no less, and also runs his own business. But I particularly love that Michael has got Michael's Magic Minute. So I do hope that all of you have been looking at YouTube and following what recent publications have been. And we will probably do a Michael's Magic Minute today. So be prepared. At the end of the meeting, we'll probably record something. But I would like you all to put your hands together and welcome Michael to the podium, please.
Wow. Ladies and gents, this club, the Rotary Club of Melbourne, holds a very, very special place in my heart. And, you know, I have been joining this club for a few meetings over the past year, primarily because I was warned that whenever a district governor visits this club, they give him a hard time. So, but I've been here so many times now, and I have felt nothing but love. This was actually the very, very first Rotary Club that I visited before I even became a Rotarian. And it was because of the gentleman sitting over there, Stephen Lake, who said to me, you know what, you should be a Rotarian. And I came to this club and I'm still feeling very nervous coming to this club, but there's a reason for that. This club not only was the first club of Australia, it's not only the biggest club, but it is also one of those clubs where you put up there because they are the role model of everything that Rotary stands for. We've had members of this club on district boards as long as I can remember. In fact, on my very board right now, we have members, David, who is our district treasurer, but we also have Mary, who is our director of membership. We've had Professor Bob Fowles, who has been pivotal in making sure that we as a district have been the most successful districts ever since the Peace Fellow Scholarships were created, ever since. And we still hold that, even though we probably dropped one a couple of years ago, but we still hold the record for being the most successful district. We've got Dr. Peter Rogers, past president, who is on the regional community, regional council, as well as David, who conflict, is also on the regional council as the treasurer there. It just goes to show that this club is filled with leaders that are setting the standard for what Rotary is. And as a district governor standing here before you, thinking back 20 years ago when I came in here, not even a Rotarian, completing that circuit and being able to speak to you, I am so, so humbled. Each and every single one of you inspire me. And so for that, thank you for allowing me to stand here today and talk to you. Thank you very much. I thought I do have only a few more minutes to speak, given that I used all that up, but I do have a very, and you can see that for me, it's all about fun. It's all about fun, but we know that the role of being a Rotarian is a difficult role, because what we're trying to do is change the world. And when we change the world, well, change, that word alone, and we know there's a lot of change around us. Everyone says change is good until it happens to you, and then it becomes difficult. And we as Rotarians, who are people of action, are the ones known for making that change. We have been successful in making that change. This year, our Rotary International President, Stephanie Orchik, some of you may personally know her because she was here as our Rotary International President representative during the 2018 district conference. It was the multi-district conference. This year has made our theme the magic of Rotary. It's actually a really, really significant theme. We can sit back and think, it's actually quite flippant. What does it mean? But for me, what it does is it changes the lens in which we see Rotary. It is no longer about we as Rotarians trying to sell Rotary. It is about us putting the lens of the beneficiaries, the people that we serve, putting that on and seeing the wonder of Rotary that you, each and every single one of you, creates. That's actually a really, really big shift. You are the reason why Rotary has and creates this magic. So today, I wanted to share with you very, very quickly 3 things that Stephanie Orchik, President Stephanie Orchik, asked me to share with you. They're her objectives, her agenda. But I'm going to take it one step further, and I'm going to make sure that it is the message that you walk away with. So I'll quickly go through her top 3 items. First and foremost, she wants us to ensure that we create a simply irresistible membership experience. That means that each and every single one of you is having an experience that is so irresistible that it is attracting others. What does that mean? I'll let you ponder on that for a while, because it means that For me, it means that your experience, being unique, needs to be pertinent to you. It means that what you're experiencing will be the trigger as to whether we attract new people into Rotary. It puts the focus back on you. The second thing that Stephanie asked us to do was to heal a divided world. It doesn't mean that Rotarians are going to go out there and stop wars. That's not what we do. What we do is we do projects that align to our 7 areas of focus. And we know that those 7 areas of focus align to the Institute for Economic Peace. They're 8 pillars of peace, for positive peace. We know that as Rotarians, as long as we are doing something within those 8 areas of focus, we are contributing to peace. That's all well and good. We know that we do that. But peace is not only external. We have a club here, and healing a divided world means that we need to be thinking about whether or not we have peace within our clubs. We have peace within each individual. And we can't find that unless we ask the question. And for me, it's great that President Catherine has mentioned that you're about to have a survey that's going to go out. There's no way you're going to know anything about what people are feeling unless you actually provide that answer. And the last thing that Stephanie Urchik wanted us to look at was continuity. Continuity means a lot of things. I could talk about the succession planning, the work that District Governor-elect Peter and I have done, and also District Governor nominee Graham. The planning that we have done today to be able to deliver projects in the future, we know that in the past, a lot of governors, a lot of leaders, knowing that we have a 12-month term, try to throw things in straight away in that 12 months to try and leave a legacy. We're going to do it properly. Continuity is all about, and I'll use an example, it's all about seeing the end goal and keeping everyone focused on that end goal, regardless of who the leader is. End polio is a great example. We started that 30 years ago. Every single president, international president for the last 5 years has been saying, we're that close. We're that close. And every international president has been wanting to say, we made it. The reality is we have got 23 new cases this year. Last year, we only had 6. The reality is there's still a battle, and we as Rotarians need to be consistent with our focus. That's continuity. That's keeping an eye on the prize and making sure that we bring people along with us for the long term, not just for the 12 months. So I talk about all of those 3 things, and I sit there and I go, yeah, we can do that. And I could sit here standing in front of the premier club of this zone to say, I want you to do this. I don't want you to do any of that, because none of that will matter. None of that will be achievable if we don't focus on the number 1 priority. And the number 1 priority in all of this, and we need to be very, very, very focused on how we do this. The number 1 priority is you. You make Rotary. You're the one that allows Rotary to achieve what the successes that we have around the world. Do you feel like you belong in Rotary? When was the last time you were asked? We talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, but every time we talk about that, everyone gets really, really nervous. But I want you to take that one step further, and I want you to ask, do you belong? What is it that makes you feel like you belong? Does the person next to you feel like they belong? Belonging is such an amazing thing. Because I can tell you now, we're often asking ourselves, what is the value proposition of Rotary? We're often going out to new members and saying, you should join Rotary. And they'll say, what's in it for me? It's really, really simple. If we don't ask you, do you feel, what is your why? If we don't ask you, what is your purpose here? If we don't take the time and say, was this meeting worth your time? Then you won't feel like you've been heard. You won't feel like you belong. The important thing here is for us to have conversations. And these conversations aren't necessarily the easy conversations we have. It would absolutely break my heart, if I found out that Stephen Lake, who is my sponsor into Rotary, turned around and said, I don't feel the love for Rotary anymore, and just left. I would have loved to have had the opportunity to talk to Amit if Amit was sitting there saying, I don't feel like I belong. To be able to say, what is it that Rotary can do to make your world better? Because I don't want to lose you. So I want to change the way we look at Rotary. Rotary is this big organization, but you are Rotary. And if we can't change this organization to suit what it is that makes you feel like you belong, then Rotary doesn't deserve you. You are the reason why Rotary is successful. The 1.4 million Rotarians around the world, they're the reasons why Rotary is successful. The millions of people that have come through Rotary over the past 120 years, they're the reason why Rotary is successful. The people who come to our barbecues and pay $3.50 to buy a sausage, that $3.50 allowed you to be successful in Rotary. They made you feel successful in Rotary. How often do we ask them if they feel like they belonged at that moment to a project that we are doing? I don't need to stand here and tell you what to do. You are our role model of Rotarians across the district. Rotary Club of Melbourne, I tip my hat to you because you are the reason why people continue to be inspired to join Rotary. Continue doing what you're doing. Continue the great work that you're doing. But the only thing I ask you to do, take the time to get to know the person next to you. Find out if they feel like their purpose is being fed. Because the moment that it doesn't, we need to make sure that we change things for that person, because we do not want to lose any of you. You make the Rotary family. Thank you. Oh my God, normally it takes me a lot longer than that. I can keep talking.
I thought this, I'm not sure it's working. I thought this would be a great opportunity for us to ask questions of Michael. You know, having our district governor visit is a great privilege, and him taking the time to talk to us and, you know, have a two-way conversation is so important. So over to all of you for any questions or things you might like to let Michael know about as well.
That's good.
Open.
Not all at once. Very good.
Uh-oh.
Off you go, Adrian.
Well done, Michael.
Thank you, Adrian.
The regionalisation pilot is
Yes.
currently underway. Can you give me your views on, I guess, the future of regionalisation as opposed to districts? Yeah, just really your overview on the future of regionalisation.
That is a really, really good question. And I actually touched on that when I was meeting with the board. And I tried not to bore my talk with too much Rotary business, but now's the best time. My background is project management. And in project management, one of the big projects that I was a part of, and Stephen would attest to this, was I was working at the National Australia Bank. One of their big projects was implementing the SAP Enterprise Resource Planning tool. Huge. And it was across all of the National Australia Bank. When you're doing any type of change like that, and I'm using this as a bit of an anecdote to help us as an analogy as well. But when you're doing a big project like that, you have the project itself that are implementing the change, but you often have the sponsor or the project control board that has stakeholders in there. Now, there are parallels to this model that is happening within regionalisation across Zone 8 at the moment. The parallel is this. We had Rotary International sitting there as the project control board. They designed, along with members of the project design team, they designed what regionalisation is going to look like. They put in place a project control board being the steering committee. And then they said, part of the model that we're going to be implementing, call it the SAP program, part of that model is actually the pilot that we're implementing through the regional council. So this change is impacting all the Rotarians. Now, the risk here, when I start to explain this and give my insight to it, is that I'm the district governor, and the district governor, the office of district governor, tends to say things, and whether it's an opinion or a fact, tends to be misconstrued. So I'm telling you right now, this may have a bit of my opinion into it. So if it doesn't have the fact around it, I'm never one to let the fact get in the way of a good story. But let's just say that in regionalisation, when the regional council comes in and starts to make the change down in this part of our organisation, the people on the control board should never get involved in the operations. And unfortunately, when you are also down here being impacted, so district governor sitting down here, but also up here in the control board, you're seeing things on the ground as well as trying to be very, very objective up here. And that's where I'm sharing this analogy, because I'm tainting it with what I'm about to tell you. My role in regionalisation is to ensure, as the governor, is to ensure that we as the Rotarians are getting the most benefit out of whatever it is that the regional council and the portfolio leads are trying to push out. That means my role is to inspire and engage all of the Rotarians to try and get behind regionalisation as best as possible. Why? Because that's the best way for us to know whether or not what we're doing is right. And if we start to identify gaps and I come along and say there's a gap there, but I can fix that because I can, that's not doing, it's actually doing a disservice to the regional council and to the regionalisation pilot. So we need to allow it to work. My role, and Peter is aware of this, is to work closely with the chair, Dallas, and also with Tony, the nominee, elect, who will then be advised as to how the program is going from our point of view, and then they can readjust. The role of districts going forward, right now, as it stands, remains. Why am I saying it that way? Because this is just a pilot. And our role during the pilot is, and the district governor's role and the district's role is to support that, to get the best out of it. We cannot be in there raising red flags saying, oh, there's not going to be a district governor anymore, and there's not going to be a district, and all the money that this district's got is going to be, because that is just a red flag. And it will just cause angst within our members. Right now, we should be very, very positive, giving our members the most positive experience so that we do not, one, don't lose the members, but two, find out how Rotary can exist in 10, 20, 30, 50 years. So I know I ducked and weaved to tell you to try not to tell you something specific there, but the update from the regional council and how the pilot is running should always come from the regional council. Otherwise, the project control board is going to murky the water there and cause people not aligning to support this project.
Michael, Quinn Scalzo.
Quinn,
You mentioned coming up on the lift, you've done about a third of the clubs. Great for you to give us a good feedback in relation to where you see Rotary Melbourne within the organisation. What can you share with us of some of the success of those third clubs that you've so far seen? Because to some extent these days, I personally don't get around the clubs like we probably did many years ago. So we did miss out on the success of some of the clubs that are associates.
Thank you. That's a wonderful question. Our clubs across the district are pretty much feeling exactly the same thing that every other club is feeling. Membership is an issue. We are finding that there are clubs out there who think that they have to do projects, and they're doing projects because that's what we've done and we've continued to do. But it's at the expense of their members and the energy that their members are putting in there. And also our demographic is an aging demographic. So what then happens is projects that were pertinent to the club 10 years ago, they're still trying to do it with a reduced membership and a reduced manpower, people power, back power. What I said to the clubs, and I'll give you a little example, and I won't name the club, but there's a club in the regions. If I said north of Ballarat, you'd probably pick it. But there is a club in that area that I visited, and they only have 11 members, but they only have 6 active members. Of those 6 active members, they're sharing the role of the president by 4. So each person will be having a role every being the president every 3 months. And they sent me a note saying, is that okay? Well, yes, it is, because it's your club, and how you run your board is how you run your board. But what was interesting was this is a prime example of a club that was still pushing out all these projects that they were trying to do with those 6 members that were active. And the president of the time presented to me 3 A4 leaves, front and back, 10-point font, of every single project that they have done to date and will plan to do for the rest of this year. Thinking that as a district governor, that's what I expect you to do. You need to do something in every single avenues of service, and you need to be supporting the foundation. And I said, actually, you know what? What do your members want? Because you've got only 6, of which 5 are non-active. Have you spoken to them and asked them what they want? And those members said, actually, we're tired. All we want is to meet for a while, take some time to get used to each other and that fellowship, and just focus on 1 or 2 big projects that we can say, yes, we've done that. And hopefully those 1 or 2 big projects starts to attract more members in. From that conversation, the president ripped up the plan for the whole year. They have started doing fellowship and have now got 3 past members rejoining the club. So it really comes down to, you may continue doing projects, but unless you've engaged your members through that survey, and please do take those surveys seriously. Unless you engage your members and ask them, what do you want? What can you do? You're going to continue doing the same thing, and our membership is going to continue to dwindle. So the response there is everyone's feeling the same thing, but people are trying to do something different, and it's working. It's working. Our membership started at 1785 at the start of this year. We're now at 1800. So, and that's net. That's net. So we've gone up net 15 since the start of the year. That's a first. Normally we're dwindling around that same area, and by the end of the year we're down. So hopefully we've started a trend. Alex, those 25 have not yet been put into my Rotary. So he's still waiting on, but they've signed the paper. Someone just has to put them in. So those 25 have not been included in that 15 net. So thank you.
Got another question? Someone?
You're too kind. You're being too kind.
Yes, Peter, one over here.
Uh-oh.
Peter taking it. The cost of Rotary,
Yes,
I think, is becoming a challenge for
it is.
young and old alike.
It is.
The amount of money we pay to RI, I think, is exorbitant.
Absolutely.
Is it being challenged?
Yes, it has been challenged. In fact, it's been challenged at the regional council, but the response that our General Secretary, John Hugo, said was they can't change it until after the pilot has finished. It was challenged because part of our business case said that the benefit of doing the regionalisation would reduce quite a lot of our overheads. And by reducing the overheads, we should be able to reduce our expenses. The expenses are actually us, the district governors. So get rid of me, you should be able to save a lot of money. But it is something that is constantly being spoken about. We know, and Peter and I have had this discussion, there are 5 attributes that contribute to your levies that you have to pay every year. The first one being RI, RDU, so the magazine, insurance, which has gone up significantly in the last year. David Carruthers can tell us that. And then we also have the officers' costs of our district, so the district levies that are put on that, and then the overheads that you have in your club. So what we've tried to do, and David has been absolutely wonderful in guiding us in this, is try to reduce at least the lever that we can pull, which is the district lever. So we're trying to reduce that as much as possible so that it makes it a little more sustainable for our members. But we do have to stand on the neck of Rotary International a lot harder to try and push that down. And we're hoping that regionalisation and the pilot and the benefits that the pilot delivers can reduce that. We know that this year, the district governor allowance across the whole globe, so we're talking over 500 district governors, has been reduced significantly. And the governors in our zone have also had another hit because of we gave that component over to the pilot to be able to support some of their operations as well.
Chance for one more quick one, Jeff?
Robert Fisher, Michael.
Hello.
Thank you for your direction and ideas today. I would like to know if there's one thing that you achieve in your year as DG that will make you really satisfied with your time and effort. What will it be?
Do you know, I love that question because that question, I can easily turn it into what is your ikigai? What is your purpose for being? My purpose for being is making sure that every single Rotarian that I have been able to speak to feels like they've been heard, they belong, and that they're part of a bigger family. If I could feel that from each of you at the end of this year, I know I've done my job.
And Michael, just before you go, would you like to give everyone a quick update on district conference and what is that plan?
District conference. So district conference, thank you so much. Normally I forget these. So district conference, it's now called the multi-district. We're doing it as a multi-district with Adelaide. So the district 9510 next door, they're helping us out. And it's going to be at the Morfettville Racecourse. It's called the Multi-District Impact Summit. It's not a conference because we're not allowed to do conference according to, that was a joke. So, but we're doing a multi-district impact summit. And the focus on that is to ensure that we're focused on what you achieve and how you can achieve it. So that's going to be on the 16th to the 18th of May. It is later. Originally it was in April, but our mates at the AFL heard that we were doing something big in Adelaide, so they decided to do it at the same time as us. So they put the gather around then. So now it's in May, 16th to the 18th. It's going to be a wonderful time. We've got a number of our committee members here. David obviously has his fingers on the purse strings there. So, but it's going to be wonderful, and I hope to see you all there. Thank you.
Now, don't run away because you're going to have to help me sing Advance Australia. There and
Done.
Excellent.
Oh, and we still have to do the Michael's Magical Minute.
we do. So look, I would like to say thank you very much to Michael for joining us today. It's been absolutely fantastic to hear your feedback. And of course, we will definitely do the magical minute. We'll do that after we've finished here though, just in case anyone has to rush back to the office. So a big thank you to all of our visitors and guests today. And I'd also like to say a big thank you to past President Philip Endersby and Peter. Sorry that the reflection got slightly delayed, but we did get there and you did a great reflection. Thank you. I'd also like to say thank you to our lunch setup crew. And if any of you have a few minutes at the end, can you please stay back and help with the putting of things away? A reminder for next week, we're back at number 35 and we've got a guest speaker flying in from Sydney, Lorraine Finlay, the Human Rights Commissioner for the Australian Human Rights Commission. So that will be an interesting lunch to come to. I would ask you all now to stand and we will sing the national anthem led by Michael rather than me.
Oh, can I just take... This is going to be really, really weird because I'm going to ask you to do the Michael's Magical Minute. It'll take 2 seconds. Alex is going to come up here and do it for us. Over here, Alex, if you wouldn't mind. Yes, I know. But all I want you to say is the magic of Rotary in your most boisterous football anthem voices. Okay, so the magic of Rotary, but it's going to be reimagining. Okay, so what we're going to hear is President Catherine is going to say, this is Michael's Magical Minutes. And I'm going to say reimagining, and Alex is going to swing to you and you're going to all shout out the magic of Rotary, but it's as big and boisterous as you can. Are we ready? So it's on reimagining. One take, here we go, and then we'll start the national anthem. Here we go. Because he swings around really, really quickly. Are you ready, Alex?
And now we're doing Michael's Magical Minute.
No, this is Michael's Magical Minute.
All right, let's go again. This is Michael's Magical Minute.
Reimagining. Okay.